No matter how long I've been running, sometimes I just feel like I'm really bad at it. I think as runners, a lot of times we have really short term memory. And when we go through a bad patch, be that just a couple of runs in a row where we don't feel great, or bomb a workout, can't hit our paces and have to drop out, or even have a bad race, I feel like we tend to get unfairly hard on ourselves. But the thing is, we're not as bad as our last race, and we're not as good as our last race either. Everything that we've done, the many hundreds of miles we've run, the thousands of miles we've run, the hours, countless hours we've spent out on the road, on the track, inside on our treadmills, that makes us who we are as athletes. And the thing is, it doesn't matter, if you're trying to break 16 minutes in the 5K or just trying to break 25. You're always pushing your limit. And every time you go out for a run, you're always going to kind of feel the same way. It's funny, I've been doing this for years. And I remember when I was first starting out, the first few weeks of running, I was sore all the time. And that was because I was stressing my body out in a new way. Starting to run for the first time, really, whereas before I had never run before, and my body was just flipping out. I remember having to hobble downstairs just after doing a 2 or 3 mile run for the first time. But now, years into it, it's still the same thing after a hard workout. It's funny. I mean, now a 2 or 3 mile run does nothing to make me sore, but if I go do a challenging workout and push my limits, I'm hobbling all the same. And, even the same workouts, it's kind of funny. A lot of the workouts that I personally do as a runner who tends to average about 60 to 70 miles a week are similar in purpose and in theory as some of the workouts that I give to my runners who are maybe only running about half as much as me. They may run at a slower speed or less volume in their workout, but the general concept of what we're doing is the same. And when they go and do that workout, they feel the same feelings that I feel when I go do that workout. That's kind of the funny thing. It's whenever you're breaking into a new boundary, if you're pushing yourself, if you're a passionate runner who cares about getting better, you're always new because you're always at that frontier. So if you have a couple of bad workouts in a row, I personally just had a couple of bad workouts in a row. I'm actually recording this because I had a good one this morning, and this whole topic kind of popped into my mind. 3 or 4 workouts in a row I dropped out of, and was like, man, I really stink at this again. What's going on? But the thing is, if I was trying to do the workouts that I did like a year or two ago, I'd have no trouble because they'd be easy for me now. But what I'm doing now is harder than what I was doing then. So I'm new, I'm pushing myself, I'm experiencing this for the first time. And when you're challenging yourself, it's normal to fail sometimes. And it doesn't even necessarily mean that when you have a bad workout that you failed the day. Thing is, our fitness and energy level and just overall motivation to push, it ebbs and flows over the course of a training cycle. And just because we can't necessarily follow what's written on paper or on our training plan one day doesn't necessarily mean that our training is not going well. It's funny, you could have all bad workouts, really. I mean, bomb them all, drop out of all of them. The pace feels too hard. You couldn't hold the pace appropriately. You're going too fast, too slow, whatever. But you were challenging yourself. And then when you get to race day, you could have the best race of your life. On the flip side, you could be amazing at workouts. You could ace every single one, do every single workout exactly how it's written on the training plan. The pace is perfect, the rest is perfect, but maybe the intensity that you're putting in isn't what was meant for that workout. And maybe you're doing too much, going too hard, digging too deep on your workouts. And then come race day, you're either physically flat or just mentally not into it and underperform. So I think it's really important to remember that we're much more than just our last run, our last workout, our last race. We're everything we've done to get to this point. And if you care about becoming a better runner, you're always breaking into that new frontier. You're always new at it. You're always feeling the same things that a beginner feels. So cut yourself some slack. One of the best things you can do to build your self-confidence is simply to reflect on everything that you've done to get up to where you are now. And, think about what was hard for you 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, and how that's a piece of cake for you now, right? So if you bomb a workout, you're not a bad runner, even though in the moment you might think that way. I certainly think that way. You're progressing, and that's what matters. So my message for you today is, as long as you're pushing and as long as you're growing, you're doing the right thing. And it's normal to have highs and lows along that path. That's all for today. My name is Coach Chris Knighton. You can find what I'm doing at knightonruns.com. And if you're listening to this and haven't joined my online marathon community yet, I'd love to invite you to that. Go to knightonruns.com and click community up at the top, and you can join my Run Faster Marathons group on Facebook, where we talk about how our running's going and share tips and struggles and successes along the way in our marathon training. I'd love to hear how your running's going too. So check that out, and I'll see you there. All right. I hope you have a good day.